Right now, while you're watching this, your body is running a schedule you never agreed to. Hormones are being released on a timetable set before you were born. Your core temperature is drifting by a full degree, and tonight, around 3 a.m., your brain will do something it can only do while you're unconscious. By the end of this video, you will never hear an alarm clock the same way again. This is one full day inside your body, hour by hour. Chapter 1, 6 a.m. The cortisol alarm, how your body wakes you up before you ever open your eyes. Somewhere between 4 and 6 in the morning, while you're still asleep, your core temperature reaches its lowest point of the day. Then it begins to climb, and that signal travels to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the master clock in your brain, a cluster of about 20,000 neurons that has been keeping time since before you were born. It predicts your wake time before you wake. About 30 to 45 minutes before your alarm, it triggers the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. The adrenal glands release a surge of cortisol, the cortisol awakening response. Blood glucose rises, blood pressure climbs, heart rate increases. Your body is getting ready to move, even though you are not yet conscious. This is why people can wake seconds before the alarm sounds, not by luck, but because the clock already knew. It is also why the early morning carries real risk. The same surge that primes you for the day can put strain on the heart, which is why heart attacks and strokes are more common in the first hours after waking. And think about what that means. The strongest hormone push of your day happens before you are even aware of it. Your body is already up, already working, already 3 steps ahead of your mind. Chapter 2, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., peak hours, when temperature, focus, and muscle power all hit their. Through the morning, core temperature climbs steadily, and almost everything you do gets faster and sharper with it. In the late morning, cognitive focus tends to peak. Complex problems feel clearer. Reaction time drops. Then comes the afternoon dip, usually between 1 and 3 when concentration sags and it feels like a post-lunch slump is hitting. It is not the sandwich. It is your clock. That dip is a circadian effect, wired into the brain long before you ate. And while focus dips, physical performance is still climbing. Grip strength, jump height, and reaction time tend to peak in the early to mid-afternoon. Lung function reaches its daily high around this time too, and body temperature, now near its maximum, makes muscles more pliable and coordination smoother. The result is the same person, the same tasks, different hours, with the difference driven not by willpower but by a biological schedule that evolved over millions of years. If you have ever felt useless right after lunch, then sharp again by 5, you have met the circadian dip from the inside. Your internal clock decides when you are sharp and when you are slow. Work with it, and the day feels easier. Fight it, and you are always swimming against a current you cannot. Chapter 3, 6 to 9 p.m., the melatonin handover, and the moment your gut begins to shut. As daylight fades, the master clock in your brain reduces its signal to the pineal gland, a small structure deep between the hemispheres, and the pineal begins to release melatonin. This is called dim light melatonin onset, the chemical announcement that biological night has begun. It happens 2 to 3 hours before you usually fall asleep. Melatonin does not force you into sleep like a switch. It is a signal. It tells every cell in the body that night is coming, and that core temperature is starting to drop. At the same time, the gut is reading the same clock. Circadian genes in the digestive tract slow the wave-like contractions that move food and reduce the secretion of digestive enzymes. A meal eaten at 8 in the evening is processed less efficiently than the same meal at noon. Insulin sensitivity falls, so the same food produces a bigger blood sugar spike. This is one reason late dinners are so easy to regret. The engine that handled lunch is, by evening, already idling. And there is a modern twist: blue light from screens. Bright short-wavelength light lands on special receptors in the retina, melanopsin cells, and they tell the clock that it is still daytime. Melatonin production is suppressed, and the whole evening cascade is delayed. This is one reason a late-night scroll can push back the start of biological night, sometimes by an hour or more, which is, hour for hour, how jet lag in the living room is. Chapter 4, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. deep sleep, when the body's repair shift truly begins. Between 11 at night and 2 in the morning, most people enter the deepest phase of sleep, slow wave sleep, also called NREM stage 3. Brain activity slows to long, rolling delta waves, and it is in this window that the pituitary gland releases its largest pulse of growth hormone. That single chemical drives an enormous amount of work. Growth hormone triggers muscle protein synthesis, so muscles rebuild from the day's damage. It drives tissue repair, and it stimulates the liver to produce another messenger, IGF-1, which keeps bones and connective tissue strong and maintains cells across the body. Meanwhile, the immune system steps up its own night shift. Cytokine activity rises, and inflammation is quietly fought while you sleep. This is why deep sleep is often described as the body's best medicine. Repair work is happening on every front. It is also why the first night after a hard training day can feel so heavy. You are literally being rebuilt, but the window is fragile. Alcohol blunts the growth hormone pulse. Bright screens, late caffeine, and irregular schedules interfere with slow-wave sleep. Miss this window repeatedly, and the repair backlog compounds. Deep sleep is not passive rest. It is a scheduled, high-intensity maintenance shift, and the body has no backup shift when you can't. Chapter 5. 3 a.m., the glymphatic flush, the nightly power wash your brain can only get while you. Around 3 in the morning, something remarkable happens inside your skull. During deep sleep, brain cells shrink, in some areas by up to 60%. That shrinkage opens the spaces between them, and cerebrospinal fluid begins to flow through the brain tissue, washing over neurons and through the channels between cells. This is the glymphatic system, discovered in 2012, and it works like a nightly power wash for the brain. The fluid carries away metabolic waste that builds up during waking hours, including a protein called beta amyloid, the same protein that clumps into the plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. The flow is not steady. It pulses, driven by the slow waves of deep sleep and by the rhythm of the cardiovascular system. The peak of this activity happens around 3 a.m., which is why deep sleep in these early hours matters so much for long-term brain health. When sleep is fragmented or too short, the clearance slows and waste accumulates. Over months and years, that backlog is thought to be one of the links between chronic sleep loss and cognitive decline. Think of it as a dishwasher that only runs at night. Skip too many nights, and the kitchen quietly fills. Sleep, it turns out, is when your brain does its janitorial work, and it only does it while you are unconscious. Chapter 6, 4 to 6 a.m., REM, dreams, and the reset that starts the whole cycle. In the final hours of the night, the longest REM period arrives, rapid eye movement sleep, the phase where dreaming is most vivid. From around 4 to 6 in the morning, your eyes dart beneath closed lids, brain activity climbs toward waking levels, and heart rate and breathing quicken. Yet your body stays still. REM atonia, a temporary paralysis of the major muscles, keeps you from acting out your dreams. It is a safety mechanism, and its failure is why sleepwalking and dream enactment can happen. Meanwhile, the master clock is preparing the handoff. Melatonin is falling, and cortisol is starting to climb again for the awakening response. Core temperature rises. The body is being primed for wakefulness from the inside out. Every morning you are woken the same way you were settled down the night before, the same clock, running the same loop in reverse. And with that, the 24-hour loop closes. The schedule that woke you this morning is the same one that will take you down tonight. Every day in the same order: wake, peak, wind down, repair, flush, dream, and begin again. Your body is running a clock you never set, doing work you never see. The best you can do is give it the hours it is asking. Thanks for watching. Your body has a schedule, now you know what it is. If this video changed the way you think about sleep, share it with someone who could use the reminder. And subscribe, because tomorrow, the clock starts.